list I want to take care of are the leaky front brake calipers. When I said they were leaking, I mean like literally leaking. There's fluid on the inside of the wheel. The master brake cylinder, it's leaking, but just past the seals. I just don't have a super solid pedal feel. So that needs to be addressed, but not something that needs to be addressed right now. But I can't do the brake calipers until I get that stripped lug nut off, because obviously I can't get the wheel off. So the first thing is going to be the lug nut. So this is the lug nut here. I can sit here and spin it by hand and it doesn't come off. So again, I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm going to cut off the acorn portion of this nut to see what's happening, if it's a stud's turning or if it's just a problem with the cheap lug nut. Like a metal guard here so that I don't screw up the... Here's what I concocted up here. Just a scrap piece of steel and putting it in the vise and bending it to kind of get this shape. Here's how that piece will fit in here. Just like that. Well, it's the whole stud that's turning, not just a stripped out lug nut on the stud. And it's in there about a ½ inch is the end of the stud. You can see it. Oh, by the way, this thing was awesome. It totally saved my wheel. I probably hit it at least 50 times with the cutoff wheel. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that lug nut back about a ½ inch from the end here where I cut it, so that I can access the stud. Here's what I got. So this is more the nut that I had cut off. So I can just barely see the end of the stud, and it's the stud is turning in the rotor. Okay, it is about 45 minutes from the last time I taped what I did. And I didn't tape any of this, I just kept working at it, is I smoothed off the end, and I center punched the end, and I drilled out the stud. I did it with those 4 drill bits stepped up. I also had to bring out the big gun there to do it. And then to keep it from spinning, put these vice grips on it, and it worked. So it came off. And that's what's kind of left of the stud. But now I can get the wheel off here. So here's the stud. Should probably tell you that these are the rare 4-piston, 2 inboard, 2 outboard. These are factory disc brakes for 68. They're really kind of a pain in the butt, to be honest, but they work really good. Anyways, so the hubs are, the rotor's hubs are kind of unique. So anyhow, here is the stud that I drilled out, and you can see it's just all this wallering is just because it was pushed out. You push it back in and it's relatively tight. I think all I got to do is get this hub off and then replace the stud. I should be good to go. It's not like more modern calipers where you can just take the caliper and rotate it out. I have to break the line, because these things are actually hard lined on. I'll show you a picture of it. So anyhow, next step is to basically get the brakes off so I can get the rotor and hub off. Put a pair of vice grips on one end. First I put a pair of vice grips here, trying to pull out, and no dice. In the middle here, you just can't do it. So I put a pair of vice grips on the end here. This is on the brake shoe. It's the metal part of the brake shoe. And then I just started working it back and forth on the bottom. That feels like it's coming loose. And then I did the same thing on the top. There we go. So I think what's happening is, if you can see, there's just where this goes in on the casting, I think it's just kind of got a bunch of crud and maybe some paint, and it was holding it up. So now this thing should just pull right out. These calipers have a small hard line that needs to be taken off to get the caliper off. The rubber hose goes to that hard line. And so that needs to come off, unlike, you know, more conventional calipers. Trying to get you a shot of what this thing looks like. See that little S hard line? That needs to be disconnected from this, from that flexible line. All right, caliper's loose. And get it off here. That is the caliper. Okay, and that's that hard S line that you have to disconnect to get the caliper off. So, the rotor's off. See those bolts on the backside? That's what holds this hub on that I need to get off to be able to get at the stud. Just going around prying it. It's coming off pretty easy. I thought this thing would be a lot more frozen on, but it'll come off no problem at all. There we go. There we go. There's the hub, and now I can get at that broken stud. So the stud basically just fell out. Obviously makes sense because it was spinning in there. The hole doesn't look all wallered out, which I was afraid it would be. It's just, you can see all the knurls on the stud are just all wore down. I'm going to use my press to press the stud in to the hub. What I did was earlier today I put the stud in the freezer, make it cold, make it a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit easier to press in. There's a new stud pressed in there. The head's a little bit smaller than the other ones, but it's not like it's going to pull through. Stud pressed in. I'm going to line up the chalk marks. One here, so this goes back together the exact same way. And then we will put the 5 bolts in. Go around a little on each one, pull it down even. I could not find a torque spec on these things, so I'm going to go with what my dad used to say when I asked what the torque spec was. He said tight enough so it doesn't fall off.